5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, it looks like we're live. So,
I got some wrecking to do. I'll meet you at the finish line.
No, wait! Fix it! Get behind me!
One more.
I'm not through with you yet. Up we go! Oh, look at that! It's your little friend. Let's watch her die together, shall we?
No!
It's game over for both of you.
No. Just for me. I'm bad, and that's good. I will never be good, and that's not bad. There's no one I'd rather be than me.
Why are you going into the law? No, go into the law.
Warsaw, Sapient, good afternoon for my time. Okay, so we're going to stop that and present. We're going with a slightly different format today, guys. Boy, I hope this is the right format. Nope. Let's try that one. I'm slowly becoming a professional. Professional what is another matter entirely, right? Okay. So let's take a look. I want to make sure I get everything that's important. Okay. That's great. It's good to know. All right. Never fucking lie to me. Is that simple enough? Or should I say it a different way? Never fucking lie to me. I can't always solve your problem, but I goddamn guarantee if you lie to me, I can make it a whole lot worse. Lying includes anything where you try to obscure the truth. Withholding information, deliberately ignoring information, misconstruing information. All right. If there's something you actually don't know, all right, if you don't know what the square root of pi is, that's fine. You actually don't know. I'm good with that. if you deliberately pretend you don't know what the square root of 9 is, yeah, you're lying. I see 2 names in the chat. I'd like to see if either one of you can tell me what the square root of 9 is. Assuming that they heard me correctly, which in one of the cases it may not be because this internet's a little wonky. And we got a third contender. Hey, Macy. Well, that's 2 out of 3. Oh, no, I'm sorry, 3 out of 3. Wow. Okay, guys, I'm going to tell you the truth here. When it first showed up, Macy was first, and then Sapient and Warsaw were like that. But now it's showing me that it was Sapient and then Macy and Warsaw. Like really, really close together. All right. So I don't know what happened. We're gonna chalk this one up to one of those things you didn't know. I gotta do this one. Yeah, sometimes it's fun. I want you all to notice the name there is Macy Van Dusen. We'll come back to that later under ruses. But in the meantime, ignoring facts, obscuring them, anything you can do to obscure the truth is a lie. If you've been told 5 fucking times the truth and you continue to believe what you want to believe, you're on your own. Once you've been proven a liar in my book, it's impossible to change that. It's like the worst kept secret in the universe that I have PTSD. Right? It is bad. Sometimes it's fun, but it's always bad. Right? 99% of my PTSD comes from one person lying to me. Don't fucking lie to me. I could absolutely make your problem worse if you lie to me. Case study. All right. This is around 2006. I was working security at an apartment complex. To give you an idea, this 2023, right? So what, 17 years later? That's a pretty, it's over a decade and a half. And yet this place was so bad that I still remember the name. Doesn't help that it was a very, very distinctive name, but it also doesn't help the place was just a shithole. All right. Withholding facts is a lie when they're relevant. I'm withholding something. Oh, I'm withholding where I got this shirt from, at least at the moment. Is it relevant? Do you give a shit? I'd love to see one Y in the chat. Just, I know exactly who will do it too. It'll be Sam or Squatch. It puts a Y in the chat just to fuck with me. Otherwise, yeah, you don't give a shit. And it's not relevant. Right? Withholding a relevant fact is, well, that's 2 no's already, guys. And I wasn't even paying attention. I just sort of noticed the flash over here. All right. Under that heading of withholding relevant facts, They told us that they needed a guard there because the gates were stuck in the open position, and they were. They legitimately were stuck in the open position. The owners didn't want to spend a couple $100 to fix the gates because they were trying to sell the property. Yeah, okay, I get it. Why drop a couple $100 into fixing the gates when you're trying to get rid of it anyway? Actually, that doesn't entirely make sense, but let's go with it for now. They did not tell us that the real reason that they needed guards down there was that one of the apartments had a history of fighting with the neighbors. Oh, but it gets so much worse. I'm doing my rounds. I think it was the third or fourth night I've been there. And somebody comes out of one of the apartments and he came out onto the patio of the apartment and starts talking to me. Okay. Telling me that one of the neighbors had come over for a party and stolen their Xbox or whatever, some sort of game console. I remember it was a pretty expensive piece of kit at the time. I'll keep an eye on that. How the fuck am I supposed to keep an eye on this in one apartment when I'm supposed to be watching the gates and making rounds once an hour? But okay, I'll do what I can. A couple hours later, I'm making the rounds, and somebody from another apartment tells me, hey, that other apartment over there, those guys are constantly partying all night. They're loud, they're obnoxious, they're troublemakers. In the back of my mind, I'm thinking, wait a minute, these are the same guys that just said that you had stolen their Xbox. How did I get... Oh, I think she told me they accused me of stealing their Xbox. You know what? It doesn't even really matter how I got there. It matters that I did make that connection between the two. These two guys that you're accusing of being troublemakers are the ones that accused you of stealing the Xbox. Huh. I wonder who's telling me the truth here. Or if anybody is. Well, about a month, I think it was, later, I'm making the rounds, and I see one of the two troublemakers. He's outside. He's talking to his girlfriend, and I can see he's got a fat lip. Who hit you? First words out of my mouth. Who hit you? I wasn't playing any games. I knew there's this little thing in me that I can always sense when somebody's lying to me. Can't always tell what the truth is, but I can always get that little thing in me that says you're lying to me. So first words out of my mouth. Who hit you? Nobody. Don't worry about it. Who hit you? Nobody. Don't worry about it. Who hit you? It was a couple of black guys. Okay. Are they around? I don't know. They took off a while ago. I don't know where they are. All right. Okay. Keep an eye out. Get on the radio. I call the lieutenant. The lieutenant is very much a black man. He's also a deputy sheriff. Oops. I think he was a reserve sheriff's deputy. You know what? It doesn't matter. He was an actual gun-carrying cop. Hey, I need you to come back to... oh, shit. I almost doxed him. I need you to come back to mandatory carry apartments. I got a situation. Did not want to say on the radio. I got a couple black guys running around punching people for no apparent reason. Because you don't punch somebody in their own house without a pretty fucking good reason. And I knew I wasn't being told the whole fucking story here. Lieutenant comes back and he meets up with me, and I tell him what happened. I told him what I was, correction, I told him what I was told. I also said, I got a feeling about this. He said, okay. He didn't say anything else. About an hour later, I'm making another round, and I run across the other one, right? Because remember, there's two guys that live in this party house. He's out, this is well after 0200. He's out on a lawn trying to start a one of those super cheap dirt bikes, under $100. The line between bicycle and dirt bike is, pretty thin in this group. He's making noise, he's causing trouble. I ask him, what's going on? He pulls a fucking knife on me. Okay. So all of a sudden, this went from, I'm thinking this guy's the victim of what I don't know, but I'm thinking this guy's the victim, to this guy's now the perpetrator. And I figured out real fucking quick what had actually happened over at the apartment, didn't I? Unfortunately, the lieutenant was also with me, or was catching up to me real quick when the knife came out. So this thing went from, you're a jackass, go sleep it off, to a major felony involving Citrus Heights Police, Sacramento County Sheriff's Office, at least one other agency. I can't remember who exactly. Oh, and the Highway Patrol came by as well, because there was a dirt bike involved. Highway Patrol came by about an hour later. Basically, all they were doing was picking up the bike. All right, this guy was already on his way to jail. I can goddamn guarantee you the problem can get worse if you lie to me. All right, let's take a look at the chat. Warsaw Patriot, it seems it's been coming. Excuse me. Sorry, Warp. Let me try that again. All right. It seems like it's a common occurrence of our government, and even people not telling the facts and truth. Like, example, these occurring UFOs. Okay. I could get into that. I really could. Maybe I really should, but not in the live stream. And short version is, unless the aliens tell us very, very blatantly, hey, we're out here and we've been watching you for the last 1,000 years, we're never going to hear the truth. Right? They don't want us to know that they're around. Or, well, either they're not around or they don't want us to know about it. One way or the other. I don't know which. Give me a second, guys. Okay, that's better. Glare off of one of the buildings. All right. So, and, everybody's going to lie about something. I'm lying to you right now. I'm withholding pertinent information. What's my real name? I'm not telling you. I'm not volunteering that information. But why not? Because A, you don't need to know. B, because some of my family has already been harassed by people who know my real name. And to be very blunt, I'm talking about, don't ever fucking threaten Papa Carey. The last person to threaten, first of all, to try to intimidate me by threatening my dad was warned of what would actually happen to him, I'm pretty sure he'd rather come fuck with me personally. Right? Skip Papa Carey. Nobody wants to go to prison as a cripple. There you go. All right. Macy asks, since they don't want people knowing what is going on within the government, when is Congress going to pass the Freedom from Information Act? Yeah, I got it. I got to highlight this one. This is good. When is Congress going to pass the Freedom from Information Act? I got nothing. I'm done. You don't have a right to all information under all circumstances. The government does not have a right to all information under all circumstances about you. All right? Sure as shit would not want them to see what my nightmares look like. I sure as shit would not want anybody to see what my nightmares look like. Oh. On the other hand, if I could record my nightmares and upload them to Pornhub, man, I'd be okay. That's some crazy shit. And Warsaw saying the aliens have been watching us for 70 plus years. Yeah, drop a 0 onto that and double it. Ish. Right. Never lie to me. Right. I know there will be things that you don't know. That's fine. If I tell you it's X and you come back 6 months later still insisting it's Y, well, you know what? Fuck you too. All right. I tried. You're going to lie to me. What am I supposed to do? Never fucking lie to me. One of the few things I do have going for me, because I'm taking a really, really anti-popular position, even with the 2A community, right? Mandatory carry means you carry, right? So many others want to make it a right, and I said, no, we can't do this anymore. It's not going to work. We got to step up and say, everybody does or else. Everybody's a little bit more nebulous than that. I figure about 25% of the population at any given time would not be carrying. Okay, fine. Yeah, that's good. Excuse me. I'm good with those numbers. But it's not working. So I have to be absolutely ridiculously honest. And that's the only thing I really have going for me. That, and I'm willing to dox myself to certain opposition opponents. There's a standing offer by Stacy, by the way. There's a standing offer. If you ever want to come on to the channel, let's have that debate. Let's do it. Come on, babe. All right. On to the next subject. Police grapplers. Right. Oh, shit. I should have looked this up beforehand. Give me a second, guys. And I know I've talked about this case before. So, Tone March, what the fuck? Riley? Pretty sure that's not the right one either. Okay, folks, I'm going to be a little bit flexible about the dates. Work with me here. Hey, Squatch! Okay, real quick. That is an AR-15, a real one. A pure 5.56. And in case you're wondering, yes, the barrel's legal. It's like that exactly. I had to. I actually had to go and check because somebody called it out one day. Shit, is it? Okay, I'm legal. All right. Jane Abbott. This is 1983, I think. And don't hold me to that too closely. Was a instructor for deaf students at Shasta County schools. She, she was attending an in-service at Loma Vista School. Loma Vista was a school for the severe developmentally delayed juveniles. Not for the adults, juveniles. DDs or retards. Just call it what it is. Varying stages, but yeah. She was attending an in-service. I don't know what about exactly, but I do know it was about special education because she was special education deaf students. She started to turn right onto Loma Vista, off of Loma Vista onto Churn Creek Road in Redding, California. All of this was in Redding. Unbeknownst to her, the motorcycle that just passed ran right through the intersection was being chased by Redding Police, Anderson Police, Shasta County Sheriffs, Highway Patrol, and two others. I remember one of them was Department of Fish and Game. What the fuck was Fish and Game doing there? Well, it's other cops and they're in trouble. So, yeah. You know what? Checking fishing licenses is not as important as getting in there and shutting this guy down. This guy had a history of going out on Friday night, cruising around town until he could find a cop, then blow through a stoplight, or hey, Swiss, blowing through a stop sign, blowing through a stoplight, exhibition of anything to draw attention from the police, all right, so that they would start chasing him. And then he'd take off, and he had been recorded at speeds in excess of 150 miles an hour. I got this directly from one of the investigators on that particular case. It was about 4 years later when I was taking his class. But at the time, well, in between the two, I was a Redding Police Explorer. And my job when Highway Patrol and Redding Police Department and Anderson Police Department and Shasta County Sheriff and Department of Fish and Game, that's how I found out they had been involved, and the FBI and two other agencies. Who the fuck were they? It doesn't matter. We're all conducting a reconstruction of the crash. Not going to get into the details too deeply. At the end of the day, the highway patrolman who hit Jane Abbott's car at over 100 miles an hour and killed her instantly, or so close thereof that she never knew that she was dying, was cleared of the criminal charges. He was also fired for reasons related to that crash. Highway Patrol policy changed in the wake of that crash. In short, they started to develop this idea that maybe at some point we do stop the chase. You know, when it goes half again over the posted speed limits. Apparently, this chase, if I recall correctly, it started in downtown Reading in a 45 zone, already hitting what would later be considered felony speed, over 60 miles an hour. He went from 0 to 60 in the turn of a light. All right. This guy was absolutely reckless. He belonged in prison. This guy was legitimately dangerous to everybody around him. Oh, and by the way, they couldn't get him on a drunk driving charge because he was never drunk. Well, at least not that I'm aware of. They could only get him on the speed and reckless speed, reckless endangerment charges, which at the time were basically slaps on the wrist. I'm talking about 30 years ago, people. Shit. Yeah, 30 years ago. So, it is what it is, or it is what it was anyway. But yeah, this guy belonged in prison. He was a danger to himself and everybody around him. And Jane Abbott paid with her life. And this wasn't a one-time incident. This was like 6 times. Excuse me, over a half a dozen times. Just that year. He'd spend the weekend in jail. He'd get out, go back to work. Thought nothing of it. It was a weekend in jail, just chilling. There were calls at the time to end all police chases. This led to the famous Maury Hannigan, former Highway Patrol Commissioner, speech about when police stop chasing suspects, society throws in the towel. Yeah. When police stop chasing suspects, society has thrown in the towel. An outfit in Arizona has come up with a device that, in theory, could end all police chases pretty quickly. Basically, the front grille of the police car folds down. You slide it in underneath the car, and you shoot a hook at the suspect vehicle, and it gets entangled or catches something, or maybe it just holds on while the cop reels the car onto the grill, lifting it up off the ground, and boom. Now you don't have a chase, you have a stop. I've seen these wonder weapons come and go. All right. And if you don't believe me, Forgotten Weapons has a beautiful example of the Taser shotgun round. That because Taser wanted to go some really crazy directions, some totally needless directions with their Taser. Somebody in the chat who has free hands, please YouTube search Forgotten Weapons Taser shotgun or Taser, something like that. I can't remember what it was called. XLR, maybe? No, not XLR. Anyway, drop it in the chat, please. Um, I've seen these wonder weapons come and go. What always ends up happening, especially with these super duper and field tested weapons, is there's one time where one thing goes wrong. And I could already see it coming with the little bit of video I did see on this uh, uh, ha ha ha, Sapien for the win. Damn. Taser X12 X Rep. Okay. Yeah, Sapien, if you can find the link, I'm sure everybody would greatly appreciate it. You're just going to have to take the HTTPS /part out. Everything from HT to W dot. Sorry, bud. Or maybe you can drop it into the chat and I'll still see it and copy and paste it. See how that works out. In the meantime, I'm watching this video and it's a successful deployment of an actual interception. That's great. That's great, right? No. What I saw was the suspect vehicle jerked hard to the left, turning broadside into traffic coming the other direction. As it turned out, very, very fortunately for everybody involved, or maybe by digging through dozens of dash cam videos and finding one that worked out perfectly. This one came out perfectly. There was no oncoming traffic, blah, blah, blah. Great. Great. Good for you. Great. That's wonderful. It worked out. I can easily see even a successful deployment that goes exactly along the same lines, resulting in the vehicle turning broadside right in front of a busload of primary school students, K through 4 students, being horrifically killed when the bus, the van, whatever, hits the suspect vehicle, flips 3 times, and then catches on fire. Or better still, or worse, should I say, everything's lined up, the officer's gotten perfect, hits the deploy button, the cable misses, bounces off of something, hits the road, bounces along behind the vehicle, the pursuit vehicle, either gets caught up in the pursuit vehicle, so it flips and ends up in front of a busload of 4 and 5-year-olds, or goes flipping out into oncoming traffic, catching that vehicle full of 4 and 5-year-olds. Now the police car is being jacked around sideways, where it ends up slamming sideways into a busload of 4 and 5-year-olds. I'm not saying that this thing is that it's a bad thing, right? It looks great on paper and it seems to kind of work. But demanding the police end pursuits because, hey, there's this great whiz-bang toy out there is pretty fucking stupid. What do you think's going to happen when that van load of 4 and 5-year-olds ends up upside down on fire? They're all killed and their parents are wondering why. Oh. Well, goddamn, I never saw that coming. Everything looks better on paper. Wow. Who could have predicted that? Thank you, Macy. That sarcasm was not directed at Macy, ladies and gentlemen. I can tell you exactly what's going to happen. The department in question is going to end up paying about $10,000 per kid. The officer, if he's lucky, the officer will be fired. Just fired. He did everything right. He's still fired because those kids are dead. If he's not lucky, those kids are dead. He's charged with manslaughter or possibly a second-degree murder, depending on the state. I think here in Nevada, it could be second-degree murder. I know in California, it could be if it was egregious enough. Okay. I have a special request that I don't normally take. Squatch. Much love. I'm in a state next week, Monday through Friday, hoping for a Squatch sighting. So, Squatch, you better fucking call her or email her, text, carrier pigeon. I really don't give a shit. You better get in touch with Swiss Miss. Swiss Miss. Ooh. Actually, Swiss, if you could email me as well. And I just went back over the chat, guys, because I realized I missed a few things. Warsaw, you and me should talk. We should really talk. Okay. I know Squatch, if smoke signals will get through to her, as suggested by Macy. Fine. I'm okay with that. Please don't hit Squatch. I need him alive. Get one of those X-Rep things, if you can find one. All right. In short, I don't care what great whiz-bang toy you come up with next. Sooner or later, something goes wrong. And it is never, ever the suspect, the guy that started the problem, who ends up on the hook for it. It's the cops that used it because it was clearly irresponsible and reckless. Okay, there's insider information I have about the Abbott crash, and I'm debating with myself whether I talk about it or not. The cop was hung up to dry for doing exactly the same thing that everybody else around him was doing, under the same circumstances, that there was no other way to deal with it. Right? Flag on the plate. The spike strips weren't a thing back then. They were, but they were still new. They were like 2-3 years old. The nearest set of spike strips to Shasta County was, I think, Sacramento. It's a 3-hour drive. Right? Even if you put them on a plane or a helicopter, it would have taken at least a half an hour to get them to Redding, by which time, if that chase is still going on, something has gone really wrong. Oh, yeah, by the way, the chase was still going on. Because they didn't want to ram him. I'm not even joking, people. They didn't want to ram him because he would definitely be injured. And if he spun out of control and killed somebody that way, they would be on the hook for that. Are you getting kind of a clue where this problem really is going? And it's really that petty. I know back in the 90s they were talking about some sort of EMP based thing. They even field tested a couple of very, very, very early prototypes using a drone. You drop this box. It looked like it was about yay wide by about 3 or 4 inches high, but about a foot and a half long. Off the bottom of the police car, it shoots off underneath the suspect vehicle. It sets off an EMP. The vehicle shuts down. In theory, that's always the problem. As Macy put it earlier, everything looks better on paper. Yeah. You can testify to how things always look better on paper. Squatch, check your email. As soon as you stop the car, Squatch, check your email. Don't give a shit what else you've got to do. If you have to get a blowjob, fine. Check the email while you get the blowjob. I don't know where this quote comes from, but it's awesome. In theory, there's no difference between theory and practice. Couple million dead soldiers from World War I. Would love to discuss that subject. Okay. Don't hang all of your expectations on some whiz-bang thing, because the theory will never play out the way you expected it to. And as Commissioner Hannigan put it, when cops stop chasing suspects, society has thrown in the towel. You don't believe me? Look at Seattle in 2020 and tell me what happened there. Look at Ferguson in 2018. Tell me what happened there. Cops were literally ordered not to fight. In Ferguson, they were ordered not to fight. In Seattle, they stopped fighting. I don't know if they were ordered or what. I don't care. It is what it is. Damn. And as Sapien points out, it's UK right fucking now. No, Squatch, if you have to get the blowjob and read the email at the same time, I don't give a shit. You get back to Swiss. Or at least read it right away. All right. Now, I know defending cops is one of my least endearing qualities. Squatch, I'm looking at you. And I don't blindly defend them. But when they didn't fuck up, they didn't fuck up. To be perfectly blunt, they were ready to sell that highway patrolman in the Jane Abbott crash cheap. 30 shekels? They would have taken 15. I'm a little bit mad about this. Right? Just a little bit. We love you, Susan. You cunt. Oh, I just popped my knee. All right. On a related subject is other options. Hopefully, No, actually, I'm fucking furious, Macy, but that's not the point here. Motherfucker. Oh, good. Okay. There it is. Thought I deleted it. Alrighty. So we are going to stop screen because I said so. And we are going to switch over to picture-in-picture layout so that I can present a screen. All right. Please ignore the text for the moment. I want to make sure. Good. All right. That's the only thing that mattered. All right. Here you can see one of my memes, and this is not one of my better ones by any stretch of the imagination. This is actually one of my worst ones, probably. But in it, you can see a trench knife, a BAR, a bayonet for, I believe, a Mauser, a saber, cavalry saber, by the way, handcuffs, Panzer grabbing, it's actually behind the words there. Pepper spray, also behind the words. Handheld taser. Well, stun gun, excuse me. That's not a taser, that is a stun gun. Also behind the words. Brass knuckles, because it's mandatory carry. Of course, there's going to be fucking brass knuckles in there. A Swiss Army knife. Yeah, Swiss Army knife. An AR-15 and a set of multi-tools. Excuse me, a multi-tool. All of these are options that might work in your situation. Now, obviously, the difference between the BAR and the AR-15 fundamentally is caliber. Yeah, basically caliber. If it's an M16, it could be a 3-round burst, or it could be an automatic and still have semi-auto. BAR, if it's a civilian legal, it's semi-auto only. If it's military, which that would be a World War I era BAR, it would still have the selective fire. So, yeah, fundamentally, the difference between the two is just caliber. Handcuffs, restraints. Right? I want to emphasize something here. Not every situation requires deadly force. Some require a few fucking harsh words and maybe a black eye or two. I've seen that happen. I was not the one giving or getting the black eye. I'm going to put that out there. That wasn't me. All right. But I witnessed it happening. I was involved in a situation where a gun would have been absolutely excessive, unreasonable, and inappropriate for the situation. But the bouncer from the bar down the street described it as, I saw something out of the corner of my eye and then all hell broke loose. Right? That was John, the bouncer from the bar down the street, seeing me reaching over his shoulder with a can of pepper spray and just sprayed and prayed. We got the bad guy I got his buddy. I got some little old lady who had been selling flowers or whatever the hell it was she'd been doing. I got her a little bit. She was able to walk away. The buddy who just got following his dumb friend around ended up going to jail because he was sitting in the bench, and the cops didn't realize who the actual bad guy was. And the bad guy may have fallen off the Cap City, what the hell's it? Capitol Mall Bridge, Pioneer Bridge, excuse me. He may have fallen off a Pioneer Bridge into the Sacramento River. I don't know. I never saw him again. I have no idea what happened to him. Right? He might have run out onto Mall, which is M Street, Capitol Mall, M Street in Sacramento, and got hit by a bus. I don't know. Right. But shooting him in the face was probably not a good idea. Shooting him with a gun in the face was probably not a good idea. Now, this is obviously before I was mandatory carry. Times change. I was carrying pepper spray everywhere. There are situations, and I've described one earlier today. The guy pulled the knife on us. The stun gun would have been an acceptable solution to that situation. Pepper spray would have been as well. All right. How about the cavalry sword? Think that would ever be an acceptable solution to a situation? Well, if you keep the sheath on it, what you have is a very large, awkward, and not wonderfully effective baton. Draw the sword from the sheath, and you have a sword. And there may actually be times when a sword is an appropriate solution to a problem. Most people don't realize police batons are deadly weapons, but they were an attempt to come down from guaranteed dead with a gun to probably dead, but not always guaranteed. You thump them on the head, maybe they get the message. Hey, what I'm doing is a bad idea. Oh, that's actually where Thumper McGee of police lore name comes from. The bayonet. There's situations where a very, very nasty knife might be the proper solution to the situation. Those will be relatively few and far between, but it could happen. Right? Nothing that I've said so far, including the trench knife and the handcuffs, will fix your car on the side of the road. Right? That's more of the multi-tool and the Swiss Army knife territory, both of which, by the way, have blades built into them. Right? It is the way the world is. Please, by no means. Oh, and of course, there's the Panzergräber, the World War I era German trench armor, which actually saw a little bit of service in World War II with tank crews. So please, by no means assume that just because this is a mandatory carry channel, and I do talk about guns extensively, that is the only solution to every fucking problem. There are times, such as the dumbass at the bar that I had to pepper spray, where that would have been the worst possible solution to the problem. Even if he did fall off Pioneer Bridge to his death in the Sacramento River from a concussion force of hitting the river at about 60 feet of drop, or freezing to death. right? Shooting him in the face probably was still been a worse solution to the problem. Excuse me a second. Bloody hell. Okay, there we go. All right. Present. Okay. So here we are. No. God damn it, YouTube. I don't always want to fuck with the comment just because it's there. Okay. So. Now I'm catching up with the chat because I got a little distracted talking about the fact that guns are not the absolute end-all be-all of everything. I shouldn't even have to say that out loud. And yet sometimes it happens. Oh. Okay. I don't even want to know what that's about. Macy would love to haul a BAR around. No, you wouldn't. They were big and heavy and bulky. Also, there is a 50 cal AR-15 upper receiver. There used to be a semi-auto one, but it was like a $5,000 piece. For about $2,000, you can get the bolt action one, which I think is why that company went out of business. And I did see this. Everything is deadly with some imagination. Yeah, some things are easier than others, all right? Try throwing pancake batter at somebody. Okay. Swiss Miss wants me to mention tasers. I did as stun guns, but not as tasers. The difference between the two apparently is one has reach and the other doesn't. I do not like the cigarette eye to the eye trick, Squatch. Nor do I like sand in the eyes. I do, however, love this idea. Squatch wants me to throw cats at people. That's not a bad idea at all. I'm a horrible, horrible person. I am. I'm a horrible person. I know it. It doesn't work as well, by the way, if the person you're throwing them at wears glasses or something that might protect their eyes a little bit. Then again, pepper spray doesn't work as well on people who wear glasses. I should talk about glasses next week. Okay. Squatch, remind me to talk about glasses next week, not in the stream, you Samuel wannabe. All right. I hope I berated you enough into understanding that no, this is the mandatory carry channel, and yes, there is an emphasis. Hey, Bernie, you're late and gay. That's okay. So was I. Wow, what the fuck was I saying? Yes, this is a mandatory carry channel. No, guns are not the absolute end all be all everything solution to every situation. Be flexible, right? As flexible as your circumstances allow. When get into this a little bit more, though. If you've been following the channel for a while, which everybody except Warp has been, you know that there's certain exceptions to mandatory carry, right? Conscientious objector, convicted felons, mental incompetence, inebriation, right? If you're drunk and you choose to not carry, the grace of God, go. And don't start sitting now just because you haven't been in the past. There's the maintenance and repair exemption that a few people do not like. Which, by the way, is actually, no, it's not maintenance and repair. It's you give the gun to the gunsmith and say, I need you to hold on to this for a little while because I have a problem. They fill out a little form that says, oh, your sights are off, or your trigger's sloppy, or something else. And it might actually be your trigger's sloppy, or your sights are off, or something else. And they give that back to you, and you show it to the cop. Hey, I don't have a gun, but I have a receipt here that shows my gun speed is in for repairs right now. Oh, sights are misadjusted, huh? Okay, go. No problem. Right? No, it's not like that. My sights actually are misadjusted, dude. Sapien, I could say something here, but I need you to open the door for me, or at least unlock it for me. Moving right along. Okay, I saw humor in that you guys don't. All right. So you know there's exceptions. Okay. Not all exemptions apply to all people under all circumstances. Angelina Jolie has a history with knives that is indicative, and her ex-husband, Billy Bob Thornton. Together, they had a history with knives that is indicative of perhaps a certain degree of flexibility, let's say, in the proper handling of edged weapons, right? They used to cut each other. Or was it themselves? Both? Both is good. All right. If I was her son or her father, if I was his son or his father, I'd absolutely fucking walk into a courtroom and say, Your Honor, I am asking that my mom, my dad, my son, my daughter be banned from carrying knives in public. The judge would say to me, why? Well, because has a history of cutting their spouse or himself, herself, whatever, themselves. Oh, okay. I actually do have a history with pepper spray that you might think, if you weren't there, that I'm a little bit trigger happy with pepper spray. Strangely enough, I've never used mace, but it'd probably be the same result. Fuck you, I'll spray everybody, including Grandma, who's out selling flowers, roses, something, whatever. Whatever the hell it was she had been selling, with just this kind of casual indifference. Yeah, it's just pepper spray, right? Well, first of all, yeah, it is just pepper. First of all, yeah, it is just pepper spray, and second of all, well, no, it's not. Right? That guy could have fallen off the bridge. He could run out into the middle of a 4-lane divided highway with multiple cross streets. In an absolutely out of control scenario, he could possibly have ended up in the middle of an I-5, Interstate 5, which is a in through that area. I think it's 8 lane. Well, no, it's not 8 lanes. It's 4 lanes. The chances of him ending up in the middle of I-5 in that area is very, very slim. It's not non-existent. There's 100 other ways he could have ended up very, very dead. And I know that. I also know that pointing a gun in his face versus pepper spray, which one is more appropriate to the situation? So if my kids were to turn to a courthouse and say, Your Honor, our dad, mandatory carry, is very, very public about his flexibility with pepper spray, I can understand why they might say that. Oh, okay. CMAC, thank you for coming. Bernie, email me. Like tonight. Let's talk. Because you missed something at the top of the stream, don't lie to me. I guarantee I can make your problem worse. Tell me the truth. May not be able to make it better, but at least I'm willing to try to help you out. As long as you tell me the truth. Different kind of pepper spray there, Bernie. Oloresian, for fuck's sake. Oloresian capsation, OC pepper spray. All right, where are we at? Hour and 12 minutes. Okay. I think this one's going to go about an hour and a half, folks, because unless I've forgotten something. Oh, fuck. I forgot something very, very important. Okay. In the description. Right here. Should be right about here. For you. There's a few links I strongly suggest you follow up on. YouTube links, by the way. The first one should be a playlist. Oh, excuse me. Actually, all three of them are are on YouTube for Townsend and Sons. Excuse me. John Townsend runs a shop out of Indiana. Civil War and colonial reenactment. I don't care if you care about that. It's very, very minorly important here. He also does a lot of colonial era cooking. He has a series on how to make pemmican, how to make chips biscuits, how to make hoe cakes, which is not in the description. Sorry, John. I truncated my timeline a little bit. Why is this subject so important to me? Well, because my second wife lives in Texas with our kids, right? When that blackout hit in 2020, was it 2018? Actually, I think it was 2018. The entire state of Texas was basically black, including my ex-wife's home. because I had sent her. Actually, it's not available for public, and no, don't bother asking me. It's family only. I had downloaded his videos and put them into a series at about 2 times speed and a half, and I'd sent it to my ex-wife. I'd sent it to Papa Carey. I sent it to a few others, but because they were able to make Pemican and Hardtack, that's the name you know it as, Hardtack, and Johnny Cakes, famous from the American Civil War as a Confederate bread source. My ex-wife and her kids were able to get through that event that winter, even though all of the power was out. When I am able to get to one of John's live streams, I give them $5. I figure at this point I still owe them $995,000. Those that Pemican and Hardtack is the reason why my kids are still alive. It's easy to make, right? It's not the most gourmet of foods. All right. It's survival rations. But it's good survival rations for all of that. I would strongly recommend, unless you have a reason you can't do it, to learn how to make Pemican and Hardtack or Johnny Cakes, and have at least a couple days worth stashed away in your house. Right. Now, where I live here, just outside of Reno, the probability of a major breakdown is basically non-existent. But then again, where my ex-wife lives, in the middle of a major metropolitan area of Texas, the possibility of a major breakdown was non-existent too until it happened. The possibility of a major breakdown in New York, it was non-existent until it happened twice in living history. Both of them were blackouts. Possibility of a major breakdown in Seattle was non-existent until it happened in 2020. And I saw one of the Antifa jackboot thugs, Sturm Abelington, right there at the border with what looked like an AK-47, but I don't think it really was. I think it was an airsoft. But it looked enough like one that I understood just stay back from, stay across the street. Because even if it's an airsoft, it's going to hurt. It's going to suck. Right? No real pressing need to provoke him any further. God damn it, I wish I'd kept that video. Excuse me, guys. I'm going to check something. We love you, Susan, by the way. Just say it. You cunt. All right. Please go check those videos out and follow the directions, even if you just have a couple days worth. It's worth it. All right. We're going to move on. Okay. We are going to stop sharing the chat for a minute. Because, oops, I promised you section 1. Hide that. Okay. Datislav Act, Section Second Amendment Revision, National Mandatory Carry Act, effective a date. The Second Amendment of the Constitution of the United States is hereby repealed and replaced as follows. A well-protected public being necessary to the security of a free state, the duty of the people to keep and bear arms shall be enforced strictly as provided for in this amendment. Title 1, to provide for the enforcement of the duty to keep and bear arms. The phrase the duty to keep and bear arms shall mean all arms in general, firearms in particular, with special attention for handguns and pistols in immediate possession, long arms and shotguns in vehicles and homes. The phrase Mandatory Carry Act used in this act shall mean the provisions of this act requiring the bearing of arms. Maybe I should drop that last line. Give me a 1 if I should drop the last line and a 2 if I should keep it in the chat. In the meantime, we're going to go back to that one. Okay. Okay, well, Swiss Miss seems to think I should keep it, so okay. I don't know. Maybe it's a little redundant and needlessly wordy, but maybe it is important. It should be kept as is. All right, in the meantime. Had the founders foreseen the future, they would have written a very different Second Amendment. A well-protected public being necessary to the security of a free state, the duty of the people to keep and bear arms shall be enforced. You might have noticed, it sounds a little bit different from the intro to Datislav Act. You're right. That was 200 years ago. If they'd written it back that way back then, things would be a lot different now. They didn't. That's unfortunate. A version of that. Oh, damn it. Stop fucking with me. Okay. A version of that actually was the original Second Amendment, but due to opposition from Pennsylvania, which means Quakers, they kind of toned it down a little bit to what you know today. We love you, Susan. You're still a cunt. Okay. Where was I? Oh, yes. Back when I was a gun control supporter, I'm not going to play. I was never actually a supporter. I was a supporter of the laws as they're written. Okay. And the law at the time was assault weapons ban. Right, wrong, or indifferent. That was the law at the time. Okay. Right. I did understand the couple. I thought I understood the concepts. In retrospect, I realized no, I was wrong. I know that now. I understand it. I accept it. Unlike some people who continue to bray like fucking mules saying, "Oh, but it'll work this time. We just need to do it better." No, we said that in the 90s too. Didn't work then. 1999, Columbine. At any rate, even back then, I realized we were headed down a road that would go one of two directions, and they were not concurrent. They were not. They did not cross anywhere, right? They were two super freeways. One is north-south, and the other is east-west. And we're going to be getting onto one of the two of them, right? This is the I-10, I-5 merger. Only we're headed southbound onto the beginning. Either we're going to go east-west or we're going to go north-south. It's pick one. Either we were going to repeal the Second Amendment entirely, right? Or we would have to go the exact opposite direction and mandate it. Because the way it was written left, and I'm going to say this the way it is, left too much ambiguity. Now, I know that there are certain people who disagree with me. I'm not going to point people out here like a fucking asshole. There are certain people who've been to the channel who have asked me to debate other people in the 2A community. I tried to, right? In case you're watching this now, I did try to engage that guy. I don't know if it was the alcohol talking or he's just a fucking asshole. I did try to talk to engage that guy, and he wouldn't shut up long enough for me to say why we're headed down one of two roads, and we got to pick which direction, which train we want to get onto, which freeway we want to get onto, right? To be perfectly blunt, I have been where he pretends we can never go. There are people out there that think that the Second Amendment, well, actually the entire Bill of Rights, is inviolable and can never, ever be repealed. Fuck you. You full of shit, or you're an idiot. I don't know which it is. I don't care. Right? You're still wrong. Right? Any one of them could be repealed in a heartbeat. Right to be secure in your home and your possessions. Fourth Amendment, yeah, that's broken all the fucking time. Excuse me. Try ordering parts online from a gun store. Right? I'm not hiding my name from ATF and IRS. They know who I am. They know everything they could possibly know about me, including my military service number. 1113. I seem to have forgotten the rest of it just mysteriously. Damn, that selective amnesia. It only comes and goes when I want it to. They know who I am. They've got a file on me. ATF actually reached out to me. 2019? Yeah, 2019. About a part that I had ordered. They wanted it. Fuck you. It was the selector switch for the Glock. Yeah, I had one. The only problem is I also had a girlfriend at the time who walked off with those and a couple other things. I have absolutely no conscience whatsoever about telling that ATF agent what happened to those parts. She stole like $1,000 worth of stuff. And the local cops at the time had called it a civil matter. Even when I said, you realize these are gun related, right? Well, it's still a civil matter. Yeah. It's not the cops they were corrupt so much as questionably competent. Um, the fact that they didn't like me personally too much amidst some things that had gone on at the time, including one of the officers being fired over being not the best and the brightest after all. Um, excuse me, he wasn't fired. He was allowed to resign. Uh, it is what it is. Anyway, all right, we're at an hour and a half, and I got off on a bit of a tangent. Okay, if you think that the first 10 amendments, Bill of Rights, is so involatile, pick one, any one. I'll show you every example that you could ever need to understand it's not that involatile. Okay, that's a little bit of a different question. Let's get it. So this is a T-shirt, and it shows an American Civil War infantry uniform, enlisted. And you can usually find, well, no, you actually can't. There might possibly be a reference to where to find it on the community tab. Um, hold up. I might even be able to pull up a picture of it. Ah, yes, I can. Now, of course, this is not a endorsement of the. I'm gonna try to avoid. Damn. How much I can do there? Might be able to do something with that. Okay. Oops. Sorry. Wrong button. Wrong tab, guys. Present. I'm going to stop that one for a second. Present. Share screen. Okay, that should get me past the worst of Susan's abuses. Make sure it's coming through. Make sure it's coming through so you can actually see it. There you go. I might want to consider replacing this one. It's gotten a little fuzzy. We good? Switch back to the other stream. Ah, yes. Yeah, I did point it out at the beginning of the stream. I'm actually going to be picking up a couple more shirts. As soon as I have $70 to buy them. I know one person who will be absolutely furious that I have them. I will learn to live with that hatred. All right. Guys, we are at an hour and 35 minutes, so we're gonna leave it open for another 5 minutes or so for any last questions, preferably related to the topic at hand. Oh, excuse me. Wow. Meanwhile, I'm going to get ready to close out. Oh, I skipped the subject of Iran. All right. I'm going to make this very, very short. The current Iranian regime is a satanic church. The sooner that it is obliterated from the face of the earth, the better off everybody will be. They control indirectly about 3/4 of the world's heads of states, maybe 2/3. They have a vast influence over the banking system. And more importantly, their fundamental core of power is trading, is the slave trade. So there we go. All right. Never fucking lie to me. Just don't do it. Best case scenario, you're going to make it worse. Police grapplers are nice, but until they can actually be proven to work reliably each and every time, 100% of the time, they're not going to replace police chases. Even then, they're not going to replace police chases. Other options: pepper spray, brass knuckles. It's where do you think you are? Well, actually, Sapien Underground and Warsaw Patriot may not be aware, but the rest of you know you're in Mandatory Carry's house. Of course, I'm going to talk about brass knuckles, trench knives, pepper spray, stun guns, sheathed swords. All right, it's a clubbing weapon. Sticks, stick good. All right, Shadiversity. Got that one right. There's a million other options, up to and including, yes, body armor, which is covered under Dataslav Act 2 as well, by the way, just saying. If it works reliably, don't be afraid of it. Pemican and Hardtack, you get at least a little bit. Hold on to it for that possibility that you might have a situation that you had not planned on. I've tried to put together about a week's worth of Pemican for Papa Carey, so he could take it to Plaster House in case there's another fire and he's stuck there. Right? The Zog fire cut him off from Reading, and ironically enough, the Carr fire cut him off from Placerville. So he's had the fire on both sides. And he's still there. Right? He's actually better off staying right where he is. But if he does get stuck there with no way to bring food in, at least then he'll have something. My ex-wife got through that Texas blackout in part because of this. Right? It's not haute cuisine, haute couture, haute couture. Oh, fuck it! It's not fine dining. It'll get you through a crisis. Had the founders foreseen the future, they would have written a very different Second Amendment. The duty of the people to keep and bear arms shall be enforced. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're at an hour and 40 minutes. I'm not seeing any questions, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Keep calm and magistrate carry on.